Hey everybody on this great Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. This video here is going to be about trying to test the hypothesis that this DGT Centaur can learn and can scale up to what level can it scale up. I guess that's the hypothesis here. Like, can we see if it can scale up to around 2000 to 2100? So how I'm going to do that is I've chosen this engine right here called BikJump version 2.1 authored by Art Bick. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. It's a very practical engine to actually play against because it has, not too high of a rating, but it's not going to be making blunders, but it will challenge you. I spar against it myself, and I have managed to beat it a few times. Honestly, I haven't beat it that many times, and I've drawn with it multiple times, and because it's not too high level and not great as say Stockfish, it's going to play quote unquote human like. But again, what we're going to see here is we're going to pit it against the friendly mode in the DGT Centaur, and then in another video I'm going to pit it against the challenge mode to see how high it scales up. So we're going to see if the DGT Centaur can scale up high enough to beat Big, or are they going to draw, or is Big going to beat it? Because the hypothesis would state that, the conclusion of, this is an n of 1, but the conclusion could be that if Big beats it, it perhaps can't scale up that high. But if it beats Big, maybe it can scale up to that level or even slightly higher. And obviously, if it draw, it also means that it may scale up to roughly the same level. So anyway, we have 10 minutes on the board here on the DGT Centaur, 10 minutes on the screen. And while I'm going to try to do my best to keep the time limits as close as possible, they may not exactly match up. So if the game runs out, I'm going to continue to play it because, again, this is just for more of a proof of concept to kind of test a hypothesis here. So anyway, DGT Centaur is going to be playing white. Big is going to be playing black, sorry, and that's just out of convenience, so I don't have to flip the pieces on the board here. But maybe what I'll do is I'll play each side from black and white in separate videos, and on the challenge mode I'll play each side from black and white in separate videos. So anyway, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. I'm gonna tell Big to play white, sorry. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to move here. Tell it to move now. Go ahead and flip the board to make this simple. Queen's pawn. I expect these opening moves to be kind of fast because everybody's in book here. I'm gonna try to keep up with this as fast as I can here. I had to switch that around, sorry. Oops, sorry. Messed up already. That's okay, there we go. That should be fine. Yep. Okay. Little hiccup there. But anyway, so far so good. We got a London on the board, and this is an opening I really hate playing against. I don't like to play it because I find it quite boring, to be honest. I mean, it has a lot of ideas in it. There's some attacking versions of the London, but most people that play it are really trying to find an easy way. It is a very easy system to play, I gotta say, because once you triangle your pawns here on C3, D4, and E3. Wait a minute. It's sorry, I'm talking. But anyway, once you do that, it's very easy to play castles. I mean, London is actually a really good system for if you was teaching somebody an opening. This would be a good opening for them to learn. If you wanted to get them an opening that would just be solid and where they will have good chances. So anyway, we're moving right along here. Looks like we're out of the opening book already with Big evaluating position as roughly equal, or with the same evaluation. Here's a 0.15 for DGT Centaur. So let's just let it have a think. Okay, the classic move here, what it does, the triangle, what I like to call this triad right here on C3, D4, and E3. DGT Centaur decides to deploy its queen. That's one of the moves I use against in London, actually, because that's the weakest point in London is this B2 pawn. So you kind of want to put a little pressure on it and make them make some concessions, because if you never do that, you're just giving them a free hand to kind of maneuver all they want. So here, you know, obviously white has to protect B2 some sort of way. It's not like it's some advantage to black per se, but it's at least, you know, you're not giving him the full right initiative. Now, wow, I did not expect that. Again, I'm not a professional player either. That is a trick, actually. If you take the pawn, then then knight b5 with the threat of almost trapping the queen. I kind of seen this position before. So whenever you see that move like that, you don't want to get your queen trapped. I forgot about that. So be wary of taking that pawn. Kind of poison pawn, almost like the poison pawn variation. Wait a minute, what's going on here? It's black to move. Oh, I didn't castle, sorry. See, that's why I told you, talking and trying to, it's a really hard thing here to do, but I'm going to try to keep this video as entertaining, give a little insight to what I think is going on here. Alright, so everything so far so good. I mean, this is all, I mean, the opening books is kind of limited here that I have, and so we're not going to see probably too much action until some pieces see it change, is what I'm assuming here. Bik is evaluating this move. I mean, this position is roughly equal, and DGT Centaur is also evaluating this as roughly equal. So far so good. They both have been thinking. DGT Centaur seem to be playing on the same level, at least at this point, and everything else remains to be seen. Oops, forgot to move again, sorry. Alright, so let me see if I can keep up here. Bik is now thinking that it has an advantage of some sort here. So let's see what advantage does it thinks that it has, but it's slowly coming down a little bit. Let's see what it does. Okay. DGT Centaur is still evaluating this position as roughly equal, while Bik is giving it a +1, which is, you know, of course, it's not a very sophisticated engine, but actually, DGT Centaur is giving this as in its favor, is -0.36. Hold up, wait a minute, what just happened here? Hold up. Black takes the pawn, right? Oh, knight takes. Okay. Yeah, this is I hope this video turns out pretty good. I may edit it a little bit, I'm not sure, but if I don't edit it, you'll see all the little quirks and things. But anyway, you're getting to see how this works in real time, and this is more or less just for you know, hypothetical purposes here. So knight takes. Wow. Okay. Bik. Now this is what I'm talking about here. Bik is not scared to go up in there. Got two pawns for the two pieces in exchange for the rook. That's what he's going for. I don't know otherwise why he'd do anything else. And which, I mean, I don't know. Those two pawns are not necessarily that great at this time, but who knows what could happen if you went to an endgame. Okay, queen here. All right. Queen threatening a pawn. Bishop obviously is going to take rook. I mean, there's really no other thing here to do. I'm assuming kings take. I guess you still leave your bishop on a diagonal, on the long diagonal. That's what I would do. Although black's queen is threatening b2 at the moment, but I don't think that'd be too hard to deal with. Okay. Oh, he's taking with the king. Yeah, that's what I would have done. Okay. Queen d2. That's what his line is proposing at this time. The times are about the same, so it looks like time may run out on me, but either way, I'm gonna play the game out. Again, this is just for purposes of just seeing what will happen. Just give a little proof of concept here, because big, we know, is just engineers around in it from I think it's rated around 2090, I believe. So I'll put a link to the description below it. Right now, that's just off the top of my head, but I definitely know it's rated around 2000-ish, 2100-ish, something in that neighborhood. So, I mean, so far so good. I mean, I'm really feeling like this game is showing, you know, showing that the DGT Centaur can learn, you know, at least play moves up to the level of a 2000 strength so far anyway, but we'll see how that goes. Why did it go that? Now see, that was a wasted move, and it gave it a tempo with the knight. Now it could go queen c2, yeah, and now it's threatening b4. Yeah, it's threatening b4 this time, so he'd have to go pull his bishop to say f4, which that might not be that great either. Maybe he should just go yeah, I mean, bishop f5 is what I was thinking, yeah. Has to go here. I don't know. Maybe g4 might be good here. I'm not sure. Knight d4. Okay, that's stronger, because the threat is more concrete this time. Well, now you're threatening g4 for real, because you can't take back. Okay. Rook over. Okay. DGT Centaur is evaluating this position as equal, while BikJump is going 1.35. We'll find out shortly exactly what's going on here. Knight takes. I was expecting that. Get rid of those two bishops, because once you get rid of those two bishops, the rooks can, in my opinion, based on my experience, the rooks can get a little stronger, because they don't have to worry about them. Those are two bishops trapping one of them off. Because if you were to trade one of those minor pieces for a rook, it'd probably be almost game over. Two pawns probably wouldn't be enough to be a full rook down. Okay. Moving a little bit slow, just talking and annotating here, but this is quite interesting though. I just wanted to do it this way because I wanted everybody to really see the pieces actually move, to see it against, you know, just what the other computer is thinking as well. And maybe one day when I get to, you know, another camera and things and some other things, I'm gonna try to set it up to where you can see both computers clearly, both of them, evaluation and everything, so you can really get a little bit more insight. But this here is, I think, great for what it is. I mean, you're seeing how the DGT Centaur is able to learn to some extent. And I was just thinking that move, because now he's threatening b4 with a threat of, if knight moves, then bishop d7 forking the rook and queen. Okay, so he goes bishop to, wow, that's interesting. But if he goes b4, he can also go a6. I mean, okay, queen e2. It is, I tell you, Big actually plays quite human-like to me in a way, because it's not a very strong engine, but it's strong enough, you know. What is DGT Centaur up to? Oh, it's going for the throat here. Okay, now DGT Centaur is evaluating position is at 0.75 in white's favor. So it's starting to align a little bit with the evaluation that Big has, which I find interesting. Okay, bishop here, but Big I think made a surprising move with the sacrifice of check. Okay, it's gonna just go ahead and take a check. Yeah, that's I like it. Queen takes F2. That's what it's proposing, but also queen takes C. Oh, it actually can just, wow. Yeah, queen takes C4 would probably be the best. Queen takes C4. That's what I would do anyway. Yeah, queen takes C4 is the best. Let's see what. Oh, let me go ahead and move it. Let me see what. Of course, white is probably going to take that pawn and be threatening the rook. I mean, what? Okay, now DGT Centaur is evaluating this position at 1.44 in white favor. BikJump is evaluating as 1.29. So we're starting to see the stars align. So it feels like BikJump was a little bit more accurate in this evaluation of the position, which means that so far right now DGT Centaur seemingly is not quite playing on the level of BikJump version 2.1. Okay, version 2.01, sorry. And I have a link to the description to that engine also in the description. It's a very good engine. I like it. I play against it all the time myself, and it's again I really like it. I think it's a great engine for just training, sparring, and just a computer game that is beatable, but gives you a great challenge. Also, the challenge mode on the DGT Centaur does the same thing for me too. They both provide a reasonable, beatable challenge that you really feel like you can get something out of it. That you're just not going to get just clobbered by a 3600 stockfish or something like that. Okay, now we see Big infiltrating with the rooks. Okay, queen here. Now seems to be DGT Centaur is and it does have a time thing going on here where it's like running out of time, because it's about to run out of time on the board here, but we're just going to play it out. And that is a disadvantage, because if they're not synced up in time, it's going to make moves based on how much time it probably has left too. So it could be making better moves, but given the time constraint, it's probably only going to make maybe moves that aren't so great. But either way, we're still going to carry on with the experiment, because that's what it's all about here. Okay. Okay, rook here. All right. So now he's threatening rook f4 with the threat on the knight, and then the knight moves, and rook takes f7 check. But if he does that, he's going to give away this pawn here, because a pawn on e3 will be hanging. Okay. DGT Centaur said, I'm not going down without a fight. And that's a fact. Okay, offering a queen trade. Let's see, will he take it? Well, he probably should not take it. No, he could take it. I think I would take this if I was black. Yeah, I would take that. I mean, I could take that. I feel like you could draw this game, because that worst case scenario, you probably can some kind of way sacrifice your knight for one of the knights for 3 of these pawns, and maybe even get a pass pawn on top of that with I mean, that would be my initial strategy. And again, but at the same time though, the big deal with these two rooks is that seventh rank could come very vulnerable, and all black's pawns on the seventh rank, and they could become very, very vulnerable. Because I could see B5 happening, check on E1 with the rook, and some kind of way getting on the seventh rank. I can see all kinds of things happening. Okay, here, so he just gives up this trade here. I would take that. Yep, I would take that. I feel like this is more advantageous for white. This is way more advantageous for white to give away that rook for sure. Okay, rook takes EH. Check is on the way. And the only one move you got here to take is king takes. I mean, there's nothing else to do here. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done that. I mean, he could go knight E6 to put a little pressure on that pawn. I mean, but it ain't gonna do anything. Yeah, precisely because of that G3. I think I prefer white here. DGT Centaur, one thing I found out, does not give evaluation when it's out of time, but BikJump is still evaluating this position at 1.32, which it's probably about right, because those knights really got that middle of the board kind of clogged up. You got to be real careful, because a lot of these squares are being held down really tight. C6, you know, and all in that general area. Yeah. Okay, let me move this piece here. I think it might be. That was a good move. You go ahead and trade that and get him distracted. Because if white manages to trade toward his queen side pawns for both of the black pawns and distract one of the pieces on that side of the board, so it can't really move away and have to permanently defend, it probably end up winning. That would be my general strategy here. Yeah, that would be my general strategy here for sure. I probably wouldn't retreat. I probably would go like, well, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to retreat that knight. I think that knight is in a good position where it's at. You'd have to force him to make not a bad move, but force him to lose some flexibility with his pawns, because if he want to move it, he got to go B4, and he's doing seemingly what I said. I would try to go for pawn trades on this side of the board and get a passer on the A or the B file, and if you manage to do that, then you could win the game. I probably would go check and then go over here and get behind this pawn. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Because I mean, if he gets behind the pawn, I don't think there's nothing you can do to save it. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a win for sure now. Yeah. It's very easy to play this right here because again, you have to tie up probably at least the king and probably one of the knights, if not both knights, to stop both of these pawns. And then at some point you probably can give up this pawn and go over here and rake up both of the pawns on the king side and win. Yeah, this is just a resign. When it just does this, it's just not even, well, it can't really do anything other than just give up the pawns. Yep. Yep, that's all it can do. And the king can't cross the 6th rank. Well, let's just play it out, though. I just want to see how this turns out. Make sure Bik doesn't make any mistakes here. But let's just see, what is the winning technique in a position like this? Okay, obviously to get the pawns up the board as fast as possible, which is what I would do. Because the whole goal with this is to try to tie up a couple of black's pieces with all these pawns, and win one of those knights with a piece. I mean with a pawn. Sorry. See what. Now, however, in some weird world, black might sacrifice a knight for both of those pawns and still make and draw again, because it is kind of tricky to draw a position like this. It's kind of tricky to draw a position like this, so okay, he's pushing up. So I would say that at this time, based on this, and again, this ain't a really good test. Maybe I'd had to play a long game, but it gives us some sort of sense of the scale. But I would say in order to do this right, we'd probably want to play like a very long game against this position, like I mean against the DGT Centaur, like play like maybe an hour-long game to see if we could you know, if we could win it like that. Because what it seems to be, based on my experience with the DGT Centaur, it plays very good moves against your, you know, scaling up to your level, but then all of a sudden it'll play like one bad move here and maybe another bad move here, but they'd be really bad moves. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold on, wait a minute. Maybe I'll just watch this out. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Okay, check. Over here. Let's see if we're going to get a sacrifice back. Like you're going to give up a knight. Let's see how it works. What? Oh, I see. You can't, because if you take, then you take the knight and push the pawn. You take the pawn, you take with the rook, rook takes knight, and knight takes rook, and then you push the pawn and he can't stop it. Yeah, that's what happens. Now rook takes, and you push the pawn, you can't stop it. Yep. So that's a good technique to know. So what we've learned, endgame technique here, that if you got two pieces, like if you get a pawn on the 6, particularly if it's a rook pawn, let's just say, at least here, this ain't a full analysis of it, but if you get a rook pawn, it doesn't even take it. It doesn't even take it. That's funny. If you get a rook, I mean, if you get a knight on B7 and you got a pawn to attack it on A6, you can push it straight in. So there's that. That was the winning. Okay. I mean, he could just take. I mean, I would just probably take. I'd just probably take the knight. Hold on, let me move this king. Yeah, I would just probably take the knight and then just take on H4. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, I wouldn't even play around, because I've seen times I played in a tournament game like this, and I've almost lost trying to think of like fancy ways. And maybe you see a way to win, just sometimes just take it. Especially like if you've played, say already, you done played like 6 or 7 hours in a long tournament. I mean, there's no need to to try to find some grandiose move when you can just go like this, play very simple chess, and just be 100% winner. Because there's no way that you can lose this game at this point. I mean, he has absolutely no counterplay. You're about to get a queen, and you're just going to trap his king on the side of the board. Once you get a queen, you put it, say, on E8 to keep him from coming on that side of the board, and just move your king over, and then you just checkmate him, because he can't even push the pawn to even threaten anything, because the pawn is blocked. So probably computer standpoints, he's going to probably try to go win F4, because that's like optimally the best way to win, because you have to try to make this pawn so you can queen it. In case if you was trying not to. This is interesting just to watch. Go this way. Okay. Yeah. That's, I mean, hypothetically, the only way to win is if you could push your sole pawn into queen. So that was a and Big is not even going to even give him the counterplay of that. How rude. Big says no. See, that's computer right there. You don't even get a chance. If that was me as a human, I would have given him the pawn, so you can have it. And let's put my king on F1, because there's be no way that you can queen it, because you can't. I mean, you just can't do anything about it. Okay. King here. Any move wins. Okay. We're all waiting to see the checkmate, and I can't wait to see it. Okay. Oops. Queen. He says a mate in 5. Mate in 4. How the heck can you get mate in 4 here? I can't see that fast. I mean, if I was playing and just had my time, but sometimes I can see some calculations pretty fast. Do I got 2 queens here? Okay, let's get 2 queens. Big has the 2 queens. Okay. Then he pushed here. And that is check. Okay. And mate. Well, anyway, this has been a long video, so I'm gonna try to go ahead and cut it off. But anyway, you guys take care, and you know, what I'll try to do is make another video of it playing from the opposite side on the 2, you know, and then I'll put it in chat. In fact, I'm not even going to do that, because I feel like that the friendly mode can't scale up to 2,000. I think I said in my past video, I think it scales up to about 1,800. I think that the challenge mode scales up to about 2,100, 2,000, 2,100. So that'll be a much better try. So anyway, you guys take care, and I'll see you in the next one.